on News 5 Live, Farmer comes roaring back to reclaim Leader of the Opposition title. Barrow steps aside gracefully. The nation waits for new COVID restrictions, and a man wanted for a village massacre in 1982 is apprehended in Belize. Details of these stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Imagine going through your entire day without the burden and risk of carrying cash on you. Belize's shift to digital wallets has begun with eCash. We can now skip the cash when collecting money or paying for our essentials, all while using a fast, easy, and secure platform. Simply add funds to your wallet via bank transfer or at an agent, and you're good to go. You will be able to make quick, easy payments simply by scanning QR codes. And best of all, it all happens just like that. Payments are as easy as clicking a link online or scanning a QR code. Download the eCash app from the Google Play and Apple App Store today and take your first step into a cashless lifestyle. The future is here with eCash. For more information, visit www.e-cash.com or contact us via WhatsApp at 613-0257 to find out more.
On May 6, 2018, I suffered a hemorrhagic stroke, which is bleeding on the brain. When it happened, I went straight into a coma straight away. I flew out via air ambulance to Galenia Hospital. A week or two after waking up out the coma, I started doing therapy. They had me do therapy straight away. And I'm grateful for that because that is what made me start moving and walking again, and I got back to being normal. When I went back, I did a new CT scan, and the CT scan results showed no blood, no clot, no fluid on the brain, so I didn't require the surgery again. But I had 24-hour nurse service by my side to make sure that everything is okay with me. After I came back to Belize, they still reached out to me asking me if everything is fine and how I'm doing, and making sure that If I have any issues, I can always go back and I just keep contact with them. And I'm very grateful to all the doctors and nurses at Galenia for their hard work and dedication. They're the ones that have me here today.
We're located at 21.5 miles Southern Highway, Stanquick District. You can follow us on our Facebook page, Mayan World Destinations, and our Instagram page, Mayan World Belize. Book your tours today.
Improving lives, delivering quality. Water for you and me. In Belize, BWS, we make it happen.
At Belize Water Services, we continue delivering on our promise of improving the lives of you, our valued customers. We have all been adversely affected by COVID-19 in many ways. BWS has ensured that we have been there for you during these difficult and challenging times by adjusting our processes and our way of doing business to ensure the safety of our customers as well as our staff. BWS enhanced our virtual and distance options to continue to serve you while reducing risk. Customers have been able to contact us through our toll-free numbers, via email, and using our newly introduced WhatsApp numbers for messaging. We have also continued to encourage customers to make payments online. These measures are all designed to improve the safety of customers. During these tough times, BWS also continued to invest in infrastructure expansion and improvements. At the same time, we have continued to provide high-quality, safe, potable water services to ensure the continued health and safety of all our consumers. Our customers enjoyed uninterrupted water supply during the most challenging of times.
Belize Water Services, delivering water and more.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, September 15th. I am Sabrina Daly. Collet Area Representative Patrick Fauber will be sworn in for a second time as Leader of the Opposition on Thursday morning at Belize House. The collective decision by the United Democratic Party to reinstate the former Minister of Education follows a meeting that was attended by area representatives, standard bearers, and caretakers on Tuesday night. As we reported, the UDP has been in a dizzying tailspin since losing the general elections in November 2020. The infighting resulted in a recall convention on July 11th that ended with Faber narrowly holding on to leadership of the embattled party. But while he was able to retain that seat, Faber had already been replaced as leader of the opposition by Mesopotamia area representative Shine Barrow several weeks earlier. It all came down to a single vote, one which Albert area rep Tracy Panton cast earlier this week, tipping the scale in favor of Patrick Faber. Since then, a letter has been sent to Governor General Forla Salam informing her of the change in leadership. News 5 spoke with Panton earlier today, and she explained that, notwithstanding her support, the decision taken is for the greater good of uniting the deeply fractured party.
We have recently had a recall convention, and Patrick's leadership was reaffirmed at that recall convention. And I have always taken the position personally that one person or one group of people, a small group of people, is not greater than the whole. And when we met last night in a meeting of standard bearers and caretakers of the United Democratic Party, the consensus was we needed to, for lack of a better term, stop the hemorrhaging of the party and to make an effort to secure greater unity within so that we can focus all our attention and efforts on the national issues that require quite a great deal of attention. When the decision was taken at the time to sign a letter of no confidence to the Governor General on the party leader, I did not participate in that process, as you are aware, because I wanted to, at that time, get the views of my colleagues. Last night, the views of my colleagues was clear. I had made a commitment personally that I would carry the consensus, and so in light of that, I agreed to sign the letter to reinstate the party leader as the leader of the opposition.
Interestingly, the decision to reinstate Patrick Faber as leader of the opposition was taken 1 week before the 40th anniversary of Belize's independence. During the official ceremony, the leader of the opposition makes his presentation prior to the Prime Minister taking the podium for a State of the Nation address. According to Panton, it is time for the UDP to present a unified front as a strong opposition.
I think we have always been very open to speaking openly and honest in all meetings that we have convened as a party. But I do think that as a team, as a group of standard bearers and caretakers, there is the sense that we need to put whatever differences we have aside for now so that we can really focus on being a meaningful part of the democratic process in this country. We need a strong opposition. What we see happening with this current administration really is alarming. And this gives us an opportunity to put our energy and attention on those issues that are of national importance and what the Belizean people, I think, want to see from us as an opposition. They want to see us standing up for issues that affect their lives and their livelihoods and that kind of thing. And so I think in that spirit, it was agreed that we need to extend every effort to really come together and forge a way forward for the party and, by extension, for the country.
In a release issued by Shine Barrow this evening, the outgoing leader of the opposition bade farewell and thanked the UDP's opposition parliamentary caucus, as well as its shadow cabinet, for the support that was given during his time in office. He says he remains committed to the people of his division. Confirmed, Prime Minister John Briceño will be addressing the nation shortly to announce new restrictions that will take effect soon. Word to News 5 is that among the measures to be implemented are an extension of curfew hours and further restrictions of movement. Unconfirmed reports that have been circulating on social media are that gyms, casinos, and other establishments will be closed down for at least 2 weeks in an effort to reduce the spread of COVID-19. But again, these are not confirmed. At News Time tonight, the number of active cases is at 1,474, and there are 385 COVID-related deaths. Today, Education Minister Francis Fonseca, without preempting the PM's announcement, confirmed that Belize is at its breaking point, and the new measures are to send a strong message to the Belizean people.
The Prime Minister will be announcing later today some more restrictions. So we will hear those later today. But we hope that after these 2 weeks, just in time, and that's why we did it for these 2 weeks, that just in time for October 4th, we can then get back into the classroom in a safe and responsible way.
Let's talk about some of those measures that will be put in place. I know it was discussed in Cabinet, and I know you're going to leave that up to the Prime Minister really to make that, but just in terms of some of the things that we can expect.
Yeah, no, well, I don't want to preempt anything that will be said. The Prime Minister will address the nation tonight, so he will deal with that. But I think the message we want to send, the very clear, strong message we want to send to the nation is that we are at a breaking point. And whether or not we go, over the cliff depends on the actions of the Belizean people. We all have a responsibility to each other. We have a responsibility to our healthcare system, to our healthcare workers who are on the front line of this fight against COVID. They are at a breaking point. So we have a special duty and obligation as citizens of this country to recognize that, to acknowledge that, and to do our part. And the best thing that we can do, the only thing that we can do right now that will help us to get beyond this COVID crisis is to get vaccinated.
Today, a News 5 team took to the streets to take the pulse of the public about the COVID situation in Belize. While one woman we spoke with has still not taken the vaccine, the consensus among those we spoke to was that the situation continues to spiral due to individuals choosing not to adhere to restrictions put in place to minimize the spread of the deadly virus.
What are you doing to stay safe during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Stay at home, clean everything, wash down everything. Wash up with Clorox too, because I know Clorox kills germs. So whenever people come to my house and they use cups or whatever utensil, I wash it with Clorox and I clean everything. Sweep and mop every day. And just wear masks and stay at least 6 feet away, like you said, no?
Stay far from people. I don't want to catch the disease and have to end up. Because the vaccine will help you for not catch it, so the best thing for that, stay far from people.
One of the things that I think that I'm not only doing myself, but I think Belizeans on our whole, in fact humans on our whole, the worldwide population is have self-love. And if you love yourself, then you would, do what you need to do to keep yourself safe and at large, keep everybody around you safe. So, avoid crowds and stuff. Perfectly time your outings and stuff. Do you really need to go 3 times for the week? Can you compile it into 1 week? If you go into an establishment and the establishment is totally packed, walk out. Go for a walk, come back and see when some people have left. Wear your mask over your nose, over your mouth, sanitize, avoid social distancing. I mean, I know it's hard and stuff, but you just got to do what you got to do.
I serve God, so I know for your corona, so it don't really matter me at all. It might sound crazy, but I serve my God who I serve, nor in vaccine, nor nothing, because all them things have to come to pass. You understand me? So
you're not vaccinated?
So
none of your family members?
Well, some of my family vaccinated, but everybody to their own,
Many have been charged for violating the quarantine regulations and public health protocols which have been set in place to contain the spread of the virus. But the country is currently experiencing a third wave, with less than 20% fully vaccinated, with stricter measures soon to be enforced, including an extension of the current curfew to further restrict movement. What does that mean for residents?
It don't make no sense.
Why?
Because then we catch bus, and when we catch bus, where they, you know, people sit down close to each other. Then the only out there when you're there, like, that areas that the police they out there, but in a bus you're there right there. Well, the curfew no matter to me, because and you don't have to live on the street that night anyway.
The numbers will never reduce until people be responsible for themselves. No matter what type of curfew this government put, it will not work. We have to be responsible for our family and ourselves. If we don't do it, nothing will change.
The curfew no matter because people still not doing it, still not about, still socialize if they want. That's the people that decision by themselves.
What we're basically doing with this curfew and these lockdowns is basically we're creating a cycle. What I mean by a cycle is the fact that what we're going to do is we're going to have stricter regulations for maybe 2-3 weeks, the numbers go down, and then we we ease up the restrictions and stuff, and then people go back to the same situation. So we're back to square one. So it's either we have a lockdown, we take the numbers down, and then people come out back, we come out back, and then, you know, start to follow and do what we must. Otherwise, we'll go right back to it again. And we'll have a third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth, and God forbid, even a 10th wave.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
A fugitive from Guatemalan justice has been picked up by Belizean authorities. But this is no ordinary wanted man. Alfonso Bulos Vicente is being sought for his role in the December 1982 massacre at Dos Eres. During that horrific event, over 250 villagers were slaughtered, beginning with the children, as soldiers looked for several men they believed had killed some of their colleagues. Many of the bodies were later uncovered in a mass grave. Sources tell News 5 that the 68-year-old Bulos Vicente is alleged to have been part of the Caibiles led by a former Guatemalan army leader. Bulos Vicente came to the attention of Belizean authorities when he began applying for permanent residency in August. A background search on Interpol initially came up negative. But then he was flagged by Guatemalan law enforcement counterparts as being wanted for murder in that country. He was detained in Dangriga, but during questioning claimed he was trying to help Dos Eres villagers flee and denied being involved in the killings. An article in ProPublica, however, says prior testimony by others involved in the massacre places Bulos Vicente with a group of commandos who interrogated villagers, hitting them with a sledgehammer and then dumping their bodies into a town well. He is currently being detained in Belmopan pending an order of expulsion. According to that article, over the last year, Guatemalan courts have last year convicted 5 army soldiers for related human rights violations and civil war crimes. In California, U.S. authorities handed over Jose Ortiz Morales to Guatemalan law enforcement in May after he was picked up on immigration offenses. Prosecutors in Guatemala have been looking for 7 others, including Bulos Vicente. Coming up, new rules for bus riders. We can give you a hint. It involves food. Find out the specifics when we come back.
Did you know that the 2021 Belize Telephone Directory is now available? Get your free copy today at any Digistore, Quartz Belize, and A&R location countrywide. It's available in both regular and mini sizes and loaded with coupons to your favorite places. Use these coupons to save every day. Plus, download the Find Yellow mobile app and always have the directory with you. It's available in Google Play and Apple Store. For more info, log on to www.findyellow.com. The 2021 Belize Telephone Directory. Get yours today.
As Belize continues to shield its people from the worst ravages of this pandemic, we must continue to keep our country safe by ensuring reliable supply chains for critical components for the fight ahead. Belize's oxygen supply is safe with 300% more oxygen supply in country than is necessary. However, Fabregas continues to make our oxygen supply chain even more robust and responsive to a potential worst-case scenario. Through supply arrangements established and secured by Fabregas, our country can receive critical life-saving oxygen from 5 regional neighbors in Mexico and Central America through marine and/or land transportation. So, in addition, Fabregas has secured additional reliable sources of life-saving oxygen using a diversity of transportation modes and countries of origin. Fabregas Belize Limited. We got your back.
Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake. How do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The sleeping giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe. Be sure. Know your money.
When I hear that drum, 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 I get up off my seat when I hear that drum.
It's the 2021 Sir Barry's Pelican Digital Bash, giving back through music. Starting on Thursday, September 16th, with a mashup by Denise Castillo, Kylon Ely, and J-Cass, backed up by the Center Stage Band. Then, the 2021 Pelican DJ Champ, DJ Mamba, and to headline night one, Marilyn Vanson. Friday, September 17th, we kick off night two with the Gil Harris 7 Band, followed by the Raven Sensation, Night Quest, and backed by popular demands, Sweet Pain 3.0. On Saturday, September 18th, we're closing out the bash with a bang, Super Fura Band, followed by Evolution Sounds, and yes, he is back, the General Super G. Catch the action on our Pelican Facebook page, YouTube, and your favorite television station each night, starting at 8 p.m. It's the 2021 Sir Barry's Pelican Digital Bash, giving back through music.
When I hear that drum, I get up off my seat when I hear that drum.
Life can be tough when a loved one suddenly departs. Dependents of the deceased are sometimes left alone to pick up the pieces and may be stranded financially. Fortunately, the Social Security Board provides survivor's benefit to ease the burden. Survivor's benefit is paid to a widow or widower, children under 18 years, or up to 21 years if attending school, or dependent parents. A survivor's benefit can be either a grant or a pension. Want to know more about survivor's benefit? Visit our website or contact any of our offices to have someone assist you. Also, be sure to visit our Facebook page and give us a like to stay informed. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
No more stress. No more long lines. No more confusion. No more long, complicated forms. That's because the Belize Tax Services Department is going digital. The launch of Iris Belize will bring ease and efficiency to our tax management. Iris Belize has a user-friendly online portal that allows you to file your returns and make payments online, view your full account history, access customer service, track your refunds, and much more. Iris Belize, Integrated Revenue Information System, coming soon.
The majority of bus lines across the country are becoming more proactive in their fight against COVID-19. Effective Monday, passengers will be prohibited from eating and drinking on buses. President of the Belize Bus Association, Thomas Shaw, says this will help to avoid passengers taking off their masks during the ride and potentially exposing themselves or others to COVID-19. But how effectively will these measures be enforced?
This initiative came up because I sat and when I look at the news and I see the overwhelming cases that are actually taking place across the globe, it's unbelievable. So what we did, we have a chat. So what I did, I got in touch with my operators and I told them, well, I have a proposal and this is what I would like to. But first of all, I need to get the blessings from them and see who all would be on board. And thereafter, after I said what we were going to do, I mean, the response was overwhelming. So what we were planning effective Monday is to avoid any eating and drinking on board public transportation, apart from drinking water. That a provision would be given for that. You can live without a soda pop, but you can't live without water. Water is life.
One may want to criticize the buses and the bus association for wanting to implement these new provisions when it appears that in fact you guys have been having a challenge with enforcing mask wearing in the buses as well as overcrowding in buses.
Well, as the president of the association, whenever you're trying to implement certain or put certain protocols in place, you'd never get 100%. But we have got to start somewhere. What has been taking place that I agree that some of our operators, and if they're listening, I am appealing to them to cease and desist from the excessive passengers, because we do know that it's still taking place. Passengers are not wearing their masks properly, but I would urge the owners, because sometimes our employees, you can tell them one thing and then they get out there and they do otherwise. And I would suggest that any passengers that are on board public transportation, they see these things happening, just make a call, and we will deal with the operators.
We also asked President Shaw if the association has a position on the October 1st vaccine mandate, which will require commuters to show their vaccine passes before entering any public transportation. He says there are some operators who have not taken it, but 95% of the association's membership has gotten vaccinated, and the majority of operators are in support of the regulation.
I did get called from a couple of our operators, but really and truly, sometimes the operators, most of the time you find out that I would suggest that for people that are taking fake news out there and saying the vaccine will do this and that, if you don't have the information, then don't put it out there. And if you look globally, but the vaccination is what is actually saving lives. And so whenever the operators call, I try to be positive and let them know if that's your belief, and if you don't want to take it, fine. But apparently, apart from that, most of the operators, they're on board and they say, well, if that's what we got to do to really bring back this economy and let us get back to normalcy, of which I think will be a long way off. But it's not. It's more positive than negative.
Active COVID-19 cases continue to rise, and the planned reopening of face-to-face learning in school on October 4th remains up in the air, despite strong efforts to get students ages 12 to 17 vaccinated. Today, News 5 spoke with Minister of Education Francis Fonseca about the plan for the phased reopening in less than 3 weeks.
Schools are open, but all virtually. Our hope and expectation is that we can return to face-to-face instruction. Again, it will be a hybrid approach. So not all schools will be able to open. But we put in place a structured system so that when schools reach a particular target in terms of vaccinations, once we are satisfied that they have a particularly good structure in place within their schools on campus to provide the protocols that are in place, then we will allow schools to open. So that still remains our objective. The vaccination rollout continues. We encourage our students to get the vaccine. We encourage our families to get the vaccine.
With less than 20% of the population vaccinated and students coming out for their second jabs this week, will enough students be vaccinated in time for the safe return? Data collected so far shows that Northside Belize City schools have seen a higher turnout of students getting vaccinated compared to Southside schools. Education Minister Francis Fonseca says that there will be a targeted plan for Southside.
I've been very, optimistic about the rollout across the country. We've had a good, turnout of students. But you're right, we did discuss that issue yesterday in Cabinet as well, that we have to have a special program in place for our Southside schools. So we've engaged our Southside leaders to go into those communities to work with our schools. So we have a plan in place, a targeted plan for our Southside schools.
Coming up, the videos were flying around today. Find out more about the field hospital coming to Belmopan when we return. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
RFNG Insurance wants you to be prepared for the hurricane season. Developing a family communications plan can reduce stress and confusion. In your plan, be sure to know how you will contact each other, set meeting points if separated, organize a buddy system that will help family members check on each other. RFNG Insurance Company Limited, where it pays to get it right.
Macam mayan secret vapor gel, good for chest pain, back pain, and joint pain. Maybe good for heart pain too.
Mayan Secret Vapor Gel is a locally produced product that is excellent for deep penetrating relief from muscles, joints, and other body aches. It also offers great relief from cough and cold symptoms.
Patrick! Why? This thing work. Rub up yourself. You need to use it.
Mayan Secret Vapor Gel is available at grocery stores and supermarkets countrywide.
The hurricane season is here. Are you prepared? Get the essentials you need to stay safe this hurricane season, such as plywood, tarp and rope, first aid kit, rubber boots, raincoats and rain ponchos, generator, portable radio and batteries, flashlight and kerosene lanterns. Weather the storm with these products and more from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Yashik Conservation Trust works to protect the Maya Golden landscape through enforcement patrols, biodiversity monitoring, freshwater monitoring, to conserve wildlife and their habitats. We work with the MGL communities to promote beekeeping, inga ali cropping, fire management, agroforestry, and raises awareness to maintain a healthy environment for everyone.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
Some Belizean businesses will be receiving funding through Beltrade and DFC to expand their operations. With $500,000 US in financing from the Caribbean Development Fund, 35 businesses ranging from micro to medium size will receive assistance. An export component is also included to assist business with export-ready products. At a Memorandum of Understanding signing ceremony today between the Development Finance Corporation and Beltrade, organizers said candidates will be selected from across the nation.
This opportunity comes at an ideal time for many of our MSMEs that have been hit hard by the pandemic and which continue to have a negative economic impact on the sector for almost 2 years in. The funding particularly targets the disadvantaged and vulnerable groups in our communities, such as women, youth, and our indigenous people. It will also provide funding opportunities for maturing enterprises, especially those that have been slow as a result of the pandemic.
Including in all of this as well will be training, because too often enterprises, some of them don't see themselves as a business, and so there's a need to do training in financial management. You know, how to mobilize resources, how to understand whether you're profitable or not. These are things we don't, because too often we make $1 today and we spend $1 and expect to spend that same $1 one more time. So this provides that kind of support. The expectation here is that we are going to be meeting those demographics that don't have access to the internet or whatever, or television, or might not watch television or listen to radio. We need to meet them where they are. And so the expectation is once we reach them, that this will be spread out across the country.
I walked into a business yesterday, and I won't call the name, and I could see that the business owner was overwhelmed, because a year ago her business was doing so well, and it's like she has been kicked to the ground. We need to ensure that business like this survive. 18 months into a pandemic, and she's still trying to hold on. And it is for those reasons that we are here today, to help the small and medium-sized businesses to survive. And I appeal to those who apply to work with the process. It is not an easy process. You don't get access to financing overnight. We are taking a risk when we are providing financing, especially to new enterprises. And in a time like this, when you're providing financing, we as financial institutions are taking a risk.
To commemorate Belize's 40th anniversary of independence, the National Assembly has digitized historical documents from 1981. A release from the Office of the Clerk says they have digitized the white paper on the proposed Constitution of Belize. The report on the Joint Select Committee on the proposed terms of the constitution of an independent Belize and records of the countrywide consultations by district and subsequent debates on independence in the House and Senate. These historical documents are now available through the National Assembly website for those wishing to view them or use for their research. In collaboration with the National Institute of History and Culture, the National Assembly has also commissioned 2 works of art to be displayed at the entrance to the House. The first is a mixed media piece by artist Mercy Sabal of Dangriga and Katie Numi Usher of Ladyville. The second is a flintstone sculpture by artists from the Vaccaro family of Moscow. The works are now part of the National Collection of Belize. Belize is among 10 countries that receive the highest travel warning, a level 4 from the U.S. government. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the U.S. Department of State are telling American travelers to think twice before traveling to Belize due to very high levels of COVID-19. The CDC says to make sure you are fully vaccinated before traveling to Belize. The number of active cases in Belize currently stands at 1,474 active cases, as newly confirmed daily cases have remained in the triple digits for the last 2 weeks. The Belize Tourism Board tells News 5 they are not prepared to comment at this time. Depending on your point of view, video circulating on social media of the setting up of a field hospital was either concerning or reassuring. It was a sneak peek of what the U.S. government, through the U.S. South Command, will donate to the Ministry of Health on Friday in Belmopan. On the site of the University of Belize Gym is a fully functional, movable, state-of-the-art field hospital. The facility, which is valued at US $1.1 million, will be set up to provide essential medical care wherever it is most needed. It is outfitted with 40 beds, generators, and air conditioning units. The donation comes through the U.S. Southcom's Humanitarian Assistance Program. The U.S. Embassy has stated that the U.S. government is committed to supporting its public health response to the COVID-19 pandemic and whatever future health challenges. Just ahead, the Belize at 40 prizes for cultural icons. But first, here is a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
This weather update is brought to you by Smart. This weather update was brought to you by Smart.
Buenos días. 2 boletos para Quicacas, por favor. ¿Ida y vuelta? 54. Este dinero es falso.
¿Falso? Sí, este billete es falso.
¿Y por qué es falso?
Porque un verdadero billete de $50 tiene una marca de agua en la forma de un jaguar con la marca de agua y electrotipia de denominación y un hilo de seguridad.
Conozca su dinero. Reconozca el billete falso al verlo. No se confíe en solo una de las características de seguridad. Busque la claridad y calidad de la impresión. Las líneas y el color impresos deben ser nítidas y claras. Sienta la calidad del papel y de la impresión levantada. Ponga el billete a la luz y observe. El hilo de seguridad abantanillada debe formar una línea completa cuando se pone a la luz. La marca de agua y la electrotipia de denominación, el Jaguar, es la marca de agua en los billetes de $100 y $50. El gigante dormido es la marca de agua en los billetes de $20, $10, $5 y $2. el registro perfecto. Las partes del diseño impreso en la parte posterior deben caber exactamente dentro de las áreas sin imprimir en el frente del billete para formar el diseño completo. Revise los billetes de $100 para saber si está el holograma del tucán con la impresión sobrepuesta de la flor de vinca per vinca. Inclínelo para ver las imágenes pequeñas del tucán y el numeral 100. Revise los billetes de $50 para saber si está la imagen del pez ángel en color verde plateado. Mira más cerca. Utilice luz ultravioleta para ver los elementos fluorescentes. Utilice una lupa para ver las letras más pequeñas que leen Central Bank of Belize y el valor del billete. Detenga la circulación de los billetes beliceños falsos. Pasa todas las falsificaciones a la policía inmediatamente. Es una ofensa criminal guardar o utilizar falsificaciones. Esté a salvo, esté seguro, conozca su dinero.
At Belize Diagnostic Center, we offer FDA-approved PCR testing for COVID-19. Get your results as quickly as 1 hour. Don't risk getting exposed to COVID-19 by going elsewhere. We take appointments, or we can come to your home or office using our concierge service with no additional fees. We have 10 locations countrywide. Call or WhatsApp us at 613-TEST. That is 613-8378 to schedule your test today.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
In crime news, an arrest was made for the July robbery at Jackie's Superstore and fast food in the 8 Miles community. Today, police charged 28-year-old Tyler Ramklam for 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of wounding. Viewers may recall that on the morning of July 22nd, 4 armed men stormed into the superstore. They allegedly assaulted one of the owners with a firearm before attempting to make their escape with an undisclosed amount of cash and cell phones. While fleeing over the property's fence, one of the shopkeepers shot 2 of the men involved. One died at the scene, while a second was apprehended by police with gunshot injuries. Today, charges comes nearly 2 months after the incident occurred. Kiefer Mess needs your assistance to get to the United Nations Climate Change Conference of Youths in Scotland. He was selected to be a representative for Belize, and an opportunity like this could potentially set the stage for Mess to become a global voice for youth activism on climate change. The Independence Village resident spoke to News 5's Paul Lopez.
Kiefer Mess is a 17-year-old environmental activist who needs your help in getting to the 16th United Nations Climate Change Conference of Youths in Glasgow, Scotland in October.
Over the past 4 years, I have been engaging myself in numerous environmental activity throughout the country of Belize. I've been helping different organizations when it comes to cleanup campaigns and coming to do other environmental activities because, in a whole, I love the environment.
Mess applied to attend the conference and he was surprised to learn that he was accepted.
I was like, okay, then let me fill out this application and let me try my luck. I was like, because first of all, I love nature, so I said, let I see what I can do. So I went and I applied, and eventually they sent me an email about 2 weeks ago and saying that I was confirmed to go for this conference.
The conference was to be held in 2019, but due to the pandemic, it was pushed back to 2021.
It would have been fully funded, but due to the pandemic, the sponsors wasn't able to come together and provide the trip. So they asked us if we can provide our own funds. So right now I'm just asking the general public if they can help me by helping me in any sort of donation. Maybe they can book one of the flights or they can book my hotel or my transportation, my accommodation, my food, and all of these stuff. I have approximately one month to get these funds together. The cost for this trip is $4,000 US.
Kiefer says he's looking forward to networking with youths from across the globe and to come back with a greater passion to raise awareness of the effects of climate change among youths in Belize.
First of all, what I want to do is to network with these organizations because it's a global conference for youths. So I will be able to learn from these people, these expertise, and be able to bring some of their ideas into the country of Belize. So I'll be able to network with these people. I believe that youths will be interested if they learn about the environment because many of these youths aren't educated about the environment and don't know how it affects us. But if we educate them, they will be able to learn and they will be able to help us and they will be interested because they will know that these environmental issues are really serious.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
You can contact Kiefer Mess at kiefermess04@gmail.com or at phone number 655-2199. Today at the House of Culture in Belize City, the National Celebrations Commission presented awards and recognized individuals who have contributed tremendously over the years in different sectors of the creative arts industry. Among those honored were Lila Vernon, Beverly Smith Lopez, Z. Edgel, Rosita Baltazar, Leroy Green, Lucio Alcocer, and many more. They were selected by a panel after submissions were made on their behalf to the Commission. This event will now form a part of the calendar of activities going forward during this patriotic season. News 5 spoke with Minister of Education and Culture, Francis Fonseca.
We don't do enough of this in Belize. As I said in my remarks, we have not given enough respect and acknowledgement to our creative thinkers, our artists, or musicians, or dancers. So I felt as soon as I took over responsibility for culture and became the chairman of the National Celebrations Commission, I felt it was absolutely important that on the calendar of events we had an opportunity to recognize and acknowledge these people. So many of them have gone ahead of us. They have passed away in my view, without proper public acknowledgement and respect. So we can only honor their legacy. And in doing so, we also honor and pay tribute to those Belizeans who are continuing their work. And that is what we tried to do today. We tried to achieve that today. Honoring their legacy and at the same time paying tribute to those Belizeans in these respective areas who are continuing that work each and every day, who have dedicated their lives to creating, to art, to culture, to music, to writing.
Up next, worried about hospitals filling up? Marian Ali looks at what it would take to treat COVID at home. Find out what she learned when we come back.
No más estrés, no más filas largas, no más confusión, no más tardanza ni formularios complicados. Todo esto gracias a que nuestro Departamento de Servicios de Impuestos de Belice se está digitalizando. El lanzamiento de Iris Belize aportará facilidad y eficiencia a nuestra gestión de impuestos. Iris Belize contará con un portal en línea de fácil uso que le permitirá presentar sus declaraciones y realizar los pagos en línea, ver el historial completo de su cuenta, acceder al servicio de atención al cliente, darle seguimiento a sus reembolsos y mucho más. Iris Belize, Sistema de Información de Ingreso Integrado, muy pronto.
Last month, my father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine. But I couldn't convince him in time.
I think what they're doing is a disservice to this country. In my mind, what they're doing is creating fear among people when they should be spreading a message of hope. What I hear them say has no basis, no scientific basis for the assertions they're making. And more than anything else, there's no legal basis for their assertion.
Would he have gotten that vaccine, he would still be here cracking his jokes and being his fun, crazy self, and we really miss him.
At 40, hopeful hearts, steady hands, together we rise. The entire SMART family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebrations. SMART, bringing people together.
With news of rising cases of COVID-19, some with underlying conditions may be on high alert, perhaps even preparing for potential hospitalization. But there are also people who are starting to think about trying to manage COVID at home if there are no beds available. Tonight, News 5's Marian Ali looks into what you might need to care for a loved one outside a hospital setting, the supplies and medical guidance you would need.
The overcrowding at the COVID units in hospitals across the country can very well force a situation where only those who are critically in need of hospitalization will end up being admitted to ward. All indications, based on the number of new infections and daily admittances to the COVID wards, are that families who can manage their loved ones' oxygen supply in the home setting may be expected to do so. But if that scenario ever becomes reality, it will need to be carried out with strict medical guidance.
we don't want to send across the wrong message when it comes to patients who choose to stay at home who have tested positive for COVID. So with that being said, the general idea is that anybody who is symptomatic, they need to be evaluated by healthcare professionals before that decision is made. So, and based on that evaluation, not necessarily does that patient need to be hospitalized, but there are different regimen of treatment that can be administered to these patients. And if, oxygen is needed along with those treatment and the patient can afford to have that at home and receive that at home, then of course.
Dr. Shana Pott is a medical practitioner at the Belize Healthcare Partners with special emphasis on COVID cases. She explains that if the overcrowding necessitates home care, the prescription from doctor to patient will no doubt be thorough.
That prescription that is given reflects on the illness that that patient has at that time, whatever we deem is necessary for that patient to recover. So that prescription comes with the time, how much time a day that patient needs to take that medication, and things like that they need to follow. And so yes, the prescription is very, very, very informative as we can make it, and for them to follow how they need to take their medication at home.
Can the prescription or the guidance also be given over the phone?
Yes. Okay. Yes, there have been patients who have called or even video called for us to see, and things like that.
Quality manager at Fabregas Limited, Leo Smith, agrees that the treatment given to patients at home has to be specific and precise because even the misuse of oxygen can create problems.
Oxygen can be considered a drug. So, if you're administering this wrong, if you're giving too much or too little, it can have physiological effects. So you need to know exactly how much you'll be getting in, right? So that's why the doctor's prescription is recommended.
But while the medical fraternity has not yet collectively moved towards that concept of treating COVID patients in need of oxygen at home, News 5 visited with a colleague of ours whose father was successfully treated the same way when COVID threatened his life last November. Michelle Sutherland explained to us today what her family had to do when the public hospital had no space to accommodate a seriously ill and infected Alfonso Sutherland. She too agrees that with proper medical guidance, it can be done.
At home, we had to set up a privately hospital in his room. We bought the oxygen tank, we bought the thing to test your pressure, test your sugar. We had to buy the one that tests your oxygen and monitor your oxygen level. And we contacted the doctor that had attended to him at the private institution, and he told us basically we don't have to monitor this man by ourselves. So he gave us reading, like if he said if it ever reaches this point, you would have to rush him right back at the hospital. So every day, twice, 3 times daily, we would check all of that. We would check his oxygen, his heart, his pressure, everything. And then we would rely back that information to the doctor at the private institution, and yes, that's how we did it.
Okay, so while he was on oxygen, he was also on this medication for hypertension and diabetes as well?
Yes, so what they did at the government hospital, they gave us some medication, but when we checked with the private doctor, he said that your dad have COVID, these won't work. So he gave us his own prescription, and so I went and I bought those. It was expensive, but we bought them.
Sutherland says the life and death situation compelled them to make some common sense decisions.
When we took him home, we were all scared. So everybody from that house had to move to my house, and all of us, we just separate ourselves from him, and we would go like 3 times a day as much as possible. We would go in the yard and we would holler for him. He would come out and he would say that he's okay or he needs something. Yes, but the first few days he couldn't, so he would just open his window and look out at us.
And so, yeah, so we never had none of the PPEs. We never had none of that. We would basically go in with our gloves, with our masks, and we would attend to him because we had to extract blood, check his oxygen, all of that. So we never had any of that. And thankfully, none of us caught COVID. Nobody in my family caught COVID.
The expense that accommodates oxygen treatment at home can be a bit steep, at least $300. But Fabregas is offering a discounted price on their oxygen package to help ease the burden. Meanwhile, Sutherland says that the overcrowding at the hospital was for her father a cloud with a silver lining.
The best part about it, everything happened for a reason. Them telling him that the wards were packed and sending him home was something good, because nothing like family, he always said. And he lived because we never gave up on him. We were always there. Dad, what do you want to eat? Dad, what can we give you? Dad, because at that point, when you're sick, your body wants certain things. It can't take anything. And so we were always right there supporting him. And that's what he said. That was one of the main reasons why he survived, because his family never gave up on him.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.